Alrighty, I'm back. I'm playing in an OTB tournament this weekend, and it's half over with. Technically more than half over with, but for me, exactly half over with. So it's 5 rounds. 3 rounds were today. I took a first round bye because I don't like mornings. So I played 2 games today, and I'll play 2 games tomorrow. And I want to quickly look over my games from today. One of them was good, and one of them was bad. So I mostly want to look over the good one, but I guess we'll look over the bad one too, just to be, you know, fair. So let me get my score sheet, and then we'll start looking at these games. All right. And yeah, as is tradition, I didn't sleep much. Got about 5 hours, I guess. And then the tournament is like an hour drive away from me, so short on sleep, an hour drive there, an hour drive back. I'm pretty tired, so it probably won't be a very long stream. But yeah. Isn't looking at the bad more important? I mean, in general, yes, but in this case, no, because the game was just so bad that it was so bad there's not even much to learn from. You'll see, don't worry. Okay. That all is probably good. So the first game I had white. We'll wait a little bit to let, you know, people show up. Spells right, yeah. But I'll go ahead and get it ready to go. Just, you know, so we're ready to cook. So white was me. 1768 USCF. But yeah, how's it going, Zev? I think he was like, I think he's 2000 exactly, but let's make sure. I think he's on his floor. But I don't want to, you know, I don't want to shortchange anybody. Let's see. He played in that. There he is. Yeah, he's on his floor. Which it looks like he bounces around his floor. Actually, he was as high as 2095 in 2020. That's pretty good. But he's at his floor at the moment. But I like playing floored NMs. That's my specialty. How's it going, Camel? Chests are going reasonably well. I had 1 good game and 1 bad game. So I plan to spend like 90% of the stream looking at the good game. Because the bad game's really bad. And it's just like a 1 move. Horrible blunder. But, you know, that's how life goes sometimes. Oh yeah, I wanted to put USCF so people know. Okay, so I guess we'll do puzzle whatever. Let, you know, for a few minutes and let people show up. This scene, sure, why not? Good enough. Too hard. Also, Camel, I encountered a friend of yours from Colorado. I don't know if he's a friend, but I know that I encountered him. Although I didn't mention that I knew you and Sarah, or that I had commentated on one of his games before. But maybe he knew that, I don't know. It never came up. It didn't come up organically. What's his name? Caleb. How's it going, 11 Scion? Yeah, I get that a lot. It's because I've watched every Ben Feingold video ever. Darn it. Oops. Alright, I plead the fifth on chess and calculation ability. I've done enough chess today, I shouldn't really be forcing myself to calculate. Yeah, rumor has it he goes to school here. That's what the word on the street. I guess here. Okay, that was wrong. Shows what I know. All my guys are hanging. Hardly seems fair. Who would have thunk that playing the first move that occurred to me would not work out? What can you do, really? You gotta play the first move, you know. Alright, let's try again. And then we'll get to the games. I reckon. Oh, that's pinned. Yeah, before my second round game, I was talking to my opponent, and he said something like, my goal for this game is to only play legal moves. And he was rated 2000. So I was like, did you not play legal moves? Like, have you not been playing legal moves so far in the tournament? He's like, no, I have, but in each game I've like wanted to play an illegal move. He didn't play any illegal moves against me. Maybe he tried to, but he failed, I don't know. I don't know, check. And then here. How's it going? It's initiative. Is that achievable though? That could be a tall order. What? Check wasn't right? What a world. Oh, that's a... yeah, that's the piece I wanted. Toot toot. Toot 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 toot. Check, probably. Toot 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 toot. Ah, he hung his knight. I didn't expect that. Okay, this is the part of the stream where I do badly at puzzles. What? I don't even know what happened there. I'm too tired. This was a mistake to attempt to actually play chess. How's it going, Super Bry? Goal for life is to make legal moves. How's it going, Vindictive? How's it going, Chess Bunzo? Middle of the game right now. Something like that. That'd be pretty cool if I could have a chess tournament in my own home. As long as everybody left when I was done, when my game's over, then everybody get out. Alright, let's look at the games, because I'm tired. I want to go to sleep. And by sleep, I mean attempt to sleep for several hours before actually falling asleep. Okay, so game 1, which was round 2. If you weren't here for the first 15 seconds of the stream, I explained that round 1 was at 8:30 in the morning, and the tournament was an hour away from me. So, yeah, that doesn't work for me. So I took a bye in round 1. Fortunately, or unfortunately, I told the tournament director I wanted a bye in round 1. Like, I told him that when I registered for the tournament. But I guess he forgot or he didn't see. So then my friend called me at 8:30 in the morning anyway, like trying to see if I was taking a bye or not. So I got woken up at 8:30 anyway. Which I don't blame. I mean, like, I understand calling me, but I wish, you know, I wish they hadn't, because then I couldn't really fall back asleep. So I only got like 5 hours of sleep. And then I drove an hour to the tournament site, and I still got there like a minute, or like my clock was already running by the time I got to the playing hall. So I like got out of the car, sat down, immediately started playing. So yeah. Yeah, usually, well, I don't know. Usually, yeah. Okay. But I was only like a couple minutes late for the round, so it wasn't really like a big deal. Let's see, did I miss any YouTube stuff? This is a good event for me because I'm like the 3rd or 4th lowest rated player in the section. So there's a lot of people who are over 2,000. I'm gonna get good pairings like every round, basically. So anyway, yeah, I've never played this guy before, but he's a former Alabama State champion, as far as if I recall correctly. Yeah, and then he's an NM from back in the day. I don't know when he became an NM, but you know, he's probably in like his 50s now, if I had to guess. So I played D4, that's what I do. He played knight f6. By the way, I haven't looked at the game with the computer or nothing yet, so anything I say is liable to be wrong. And I played c4. And he played c5. I've been seeing a lot of Benoni's lately over the board for whatever reason. But I ain't afraid of no Benoni. I'm not scared of that, so. How's it going, Zorex? Yeah, this is a relatively non-degen stream. Okay, and then he played the Czech Benoni, which I know little about other than, you know, I've seen Ben Feingold play it 1,000 times. 2300 WIM played this against me in last OTB. Yeah, I mean, you know, at the top super GM level, the Benoni's probably like terrible, but at any other level, it's probably fine. How's it going, Kaleidoscope Guy? Although I prefer to call you Delver, but I guess you're Kaleidoscope Guy now. Well, this is Halo music, actually. All of my music is from video games. But yeah, close enough. Transposed into a 4-pawn attack line. The only thing in life that you care about, as far as I can tell. Okay, so yeah, I don't really know the theory, but whatever, it's some Benoni. So, knight c3, preparing to play e4. d6, e4. And you get this big blocked up center where nobody can do anything. And the only thing I've really learned from Ben Feingold videos is white thinks about playing these moves and black thinks about playing these moves. Those are pawn breaks. So you got to do one of them. Plus 1.7. I mean, the engine eval doesn't really matter at this point. Shout out John. Wait, did I get raided? Oh, it's a raid. Thank you, John. Yeah, sorry. I'm gonna have to fix my raid alerts, not because they're not working, but because I'm getting tired of explaining how my raid alerts are broken. So I don't get notified. It takes me a minute to realize that I've been raided. But yeah, welcome raiders. Thanks, John, for the raid. Hope you had a good stream and all that stuff. So I'm playing an OTB tournament this weekend. It's halfway done. We played the first half today. I'm gonna review my games quickly and then go to bed and get ready for, you know, tomorrow's games. So I'm tired and I have a headache, but I'm still gonna try to review my games. Steel Smith is a boomer with technology. It's more that I'm just lazy, and when things break, it usually takes me a month or two to build up the willpower to fix them. So. Okay, so for the Raiders, you haven't missed anything. This is the opening. It's the Czech Benoni. I don't know. I don't really know, like, theory from here. I don't think theory is super important because the center's so close, like, nothing's likely to happen anytime soon. So I think you can just put your pieces on squares and you get a reasonable position. But that's just my impression. I'm nobody. I don't know. Okay, so he played bishop e7, and I played knight f3. Sometimes I don't like letting them do this in like a regular Benoni. A lot of times I'll play bishop e2 first, so if they try to do that, I can avoid letting him take my knight. But I don't think I really care about that here. And also, like, in a normal Benoni, the knight likes to reroute to c4, but that's not possible here. So I thought more likely the knight wants to go to d3. So I don't really want to ever go here. Thanks for following. Who was it? Let's see. Timmy Gomythe. Thank you. Welcome to the stream. Stockfish does like space, that's true. What level of chess is an 1850 rated player considered to be at? Well, I'd say about 1850, I guess. Online game? Yeah, you still got to be more specific. Do you mean Lead Chess? Do you mean chess.com? Do you mean Bullet? Do you mean Rapid? Do you mean Correspondence? Do you mean Ultra Bullet? Everybody has 5 billion ratings, so you can't just give a number. You got to tell me what that rating means. Okay, so after knight f3, he got his other knight out. Seems reasonable. A lot of times in the Benoni, the knight ends up going here. But that doesn't seem likely to happen here. So. Correspondence. Okay, correspondence rating means nothing. I'm sorry to tell you. It's a meaningless number. It might as well be 50 million billion. Okay, I got my bishop out. I'm ready to castle. We both castled. Looks like a normal game so far. He played knight e8, which I thought was a little strange. I mean, I understand the purpose of the move. He wants to play f5. But I don't know, it feels like he's moving in reverse. I didn't feel very afraid of f5, like, immediately, because if he plays f5 and I take, then I have the e4 square for my knight. Maybe my bishop gets good on this diagonal. So I didn't feel like f5 was like something I need to imminently worry about. So I don't know. Knight e8 feels kind of wrong to me, but probably not too bad. Typical Benoni stuff, covers d6. That's true. Standard in the Czech Benoni. All right, I believe you. Doot, doot, doot. Okay, so I did something. I played bishop e3, which I thought was a nice, like a lot of times you don't want to play bishop e3 when the guy can go knight g4. So when he moves his knight, it felt like this was a good time to play bishop e3. And I'm basically saying, like, if you play f5, I don't care. Like, go ahead. And I'll put my queen here, you know, and I'll have a fine position. Still thinking about doing this, potentially. Knight on d3 would support these pawn breaks that are, you know, things going on. He did play g6, which makes a lot of sense. He wants to play f5, but he doesn't want to recapture with a piece. He wants to recapture with a pawn. And then he wants to push his pawns up the board and roll me. So, I didn't want him to do that. Well, I mean, I didn't think he was ever really going to play f4. I thought I would just stop him from doing that. And I like having d2 for the queen, but yeah, I don't know, maybe. 98 is bad, but 91 is good. Exactly. Okay, so again, he's sort of threatening f5, sort of. So I tried to prevent him from playing f5, or at least made it unpalatable to do so. Is this a good time to quiz the class? I like asking you guys what white should do. I'm not saying I know that my move is like best, but I think my move's good. Queen d2, but then he plays f5. And not only does he play f5, but if you play queen d2, now f4 is threatening to trap your bishop. So queen d2, f5, the threat would be f4, and the bishop would be trapped. So I think queen d2 is not well timed. Dragonite? I don't know if I have one in arm's reach. I do, but I want to look at the game. I'll refund your points at some point. a2, a4, a5, rook a1, rook a3, rook b3. Man, that's a long idea. I played like a one move idea. Although it was really like, okay, it's deeper than one move. Two move. The guy wants to play f5. I don't want him to play f5. I thought about g4, but if I play g4... I mean, A, that's pretty weakening, and B, he might just play f5 anyway. Duck on f5. Yeah, duck f6 would stop it, would do the trick. I did play bishop h6. Does stop it for one turn. He has to play knight g7 or sack and exchange, which actually my friend suggested maybe he could sack and exchange, but he played knight g7. Probably not a sack and exchange here, but later maybe. But how are we going to actually get to his king? He'd have a nice pawn duo on f5 and e4, or f5 and e5, and I don't think it's so easy to get to the king. That's right, Ivan. Now, yeah, now queen d2. And now, when he plays f5, he's no longer threatening to trap my bishop. So he can play f5. I can't really stop him from doing it if that's what his heart desires. But I can make it so that there is consequence. And now the consequence of playing f5 is that you're giving up the e6 square to my knight, which would be a, you know, a nice square. Sandbag is evolving, yeah. Yeah, maybe that move order would be the same. I'm not sure. Okay. So he did not play f5. He believed my nonsense. He played knight f6. Now both knights have been on f6. Doot 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 doot. So I feel like this opening's gone pretty well for white at this point, because his pieces are all jammed up over here. I've got a space advantage. He wanted to play f5, but he can't. Feels like pretty pleasant position for white. You thought he should play f5 anyway? That'd teach me. I mean, I didn't think it was, like, terrible, but I just thought, you know, my knight will be good. How's it going, Zamphofex? Maybe knight g4 is a threat. Well, if it were... Oh, you're talking about after knight f6? I agreed with you that knight g4 was the idea. So I played h3. Because, yeah, he wants to go here and get rid of my bishop. And my bishop's actually sort of running low on squares if he does that. So h3. You still like black? I mean, yeah, I don't think it's like... Like, I would guess that the computer will give a big advantage for white, but the computer does that a lot in positions where it has space. And then, you know, in human games, it's not so easy to prove that white's better, but the computer will probably like white. I wasn't really thinking about knight h2. I was just thinking about stopping knight g4. Yeah, there's not like an obvious plan for white. I agree. Well, I think this isn't only the Evolution song. I think it was like the Safari Zone song, maybe? Although it does say Evolution. I swear this jingle was played at some other place in the game, but anyway. Okay, so h3, no knight g4 for him. He played king h8. Which, you know, I wasn't too scared of. But the guy wants to go here and kick away my bishop. That's what he wants to do. Because my bishop is gumming him up over here. So I had to decide, do I care about knight g8? Do I not care about knight g8? What's going to happen after knight g8? And I decided I didn't care. I was like, if he wants to play knight g8 and like always move his knights backwards, you know, fine. Still felt like black's position was kind of bottled up. So once I made that determination, the next thing was to find something to do. Because it's not like there's a glaringly obvious move for white, I think. Like, I got my pieces out, I castled. I got the center. There's no, like, pawn breaks or nothing. That was my determination, too. He fights with knights. What does a4, a5 accomplish? First instinct is g4. Yeah, I mean, it felt a little crazy. Shuts down their pawn play? What pawn play? What pawn play are you referring to? Knight h2, f4. I once had a game reviewed by chess coach Andras, and I played knight h2 in the game, and he said, "Don't do that." He's like, "That's never." He's like, "That's pretty much never good." Usually, it's not good to move your pieces backwards. Like if f4 were some huge big accomplishment, then okay. But I don't think it's like that. It's just some moves, like, I don't think it's worth spending 2 Tempi, like, moving this knight around. That's what I thought too, Vindictive. I don't, like, you're saying you stop in pawn play, but I don't see any pawn play. The knight does feel in the way, though. I mean, if you want to play f4, the knight's in the way. I just don't... I don't know that I want to play f4. Like, I'm not saying f4 is bad, but it's not clear to me that that's accomplishing that much for white. Like, I think people like to play moves like f4 because then then the game has direction. Like, all right, now I can play on the f file or whatever. But it doesn't mean that it's, like, good. Like, I could perhaps make an argument, not that I was thinking this during the game. Honestly, it didn't even really occur to me to try for f4. But, like, if I play for f4 and he takes, then maybe in some future his knight gets here and his bishop gets here and, you know, his pieces are on good squares. I don't know what f4 really opens up for me. But, I mean, it might be a good plan. I'm not saying that my move is, like, incredible. In fact, my move looks a little weird. Like, I think my move will surprise some people. And again, I'm not sure that it's good. White has no plan. Playing on the F-file seems better than no plan. Okay, well, I agree white has no plan, so why don't we just, like, improve a piece? Like, if we got no plans, why don't we just improve something? Well, I didn't really consider A4 because my policy in the Benoni is when they play A6, I play A4. I don't think the guy's threatening B5, so I don't really see a purpose to playing E4 unprovoked. If he plays A6, then I would probably play A4. But what, I mean, why is... Again, it's just not clear to me that having a pawn on A5 is that good. A3? I don't like A3 because again, if he plays A6, I want to play A4. So A3 kind of feels like wasting a tempo to me. It's a free improving move. Let's improve something that's more relevant than an A-pawn. If you can't improve your position on the king side or the center, you need to improve on the queen side. Okay, so do that. Improve a queen side piece. Do-do-do-do-do-do. At A6, you go B5. How am I going B5? Knight E1, knight D3. I think that's somewhat reasonable, but I like my move better. B4? I don't know, I don't like, is B4 that good? No one's come up with my idea yet. Your ideas could be better than mine. I don't know, I haven't looked at the computer. Is this Water Blight Ganon? It's one of them. It is Water Blight Ganon. Improving the pawn is just as valid as improving a piece. I disagree on principle. Pieces are better than pawns. Rook B1? Well, you're getting in the neighborhood. I actually considered Rook B1. Because B1 I could break with B4 right away if I wanted to. If I wanted to. Knight H2, I don't know, man. Knight H4. Yeah, you might be running into some tricks if you do that. King H1. Still no one suggested my move. Only one person has touched the piece that I moved. This is fun, you guys trying to figure out what I did. This was actually one of my longest thinks of the game, too. Again, that doesn't mean I came up with anything good. I improved a piece and I made a sort of threat. Knight G5. I mean, the knight makes a good impression on G5, but I don't know. Again, it's like I don't know what it's really like. I'm not really threatening anything. It sort of looks nice there. Rook FD1. You're 75% correct, Soul Rider. That move's not rad enough. My move was more rad. Vindictive is also 75% correct, but his moves are less legal. Sandbag got it. Yeah, I played Rook AD1. That's one rad move. Okay, so I'm gonna argue that the rook's better on D1 because later maybe we can do some kind of rook lift. The rook's in the center. You know, you get it. Now, it does look like a strange move. Because it's like, why are we putting the rook on this square, on this mega closed file? Right? No, it is an improvement. Because I can lift it later. I am technically threatening knight takes e5. Now, I saw that if we go back, his intention was to play knight g8. Which conveniently makes knight e5 not work. Which I saw that. I was like, fine, whatever. But okay, now, I mean, he does have to think about this. It's some idea that's in the position. I decided knight g8 wasn't even really a good move. I was like, whatever, I don't care. So I'm just gonna make some, like, you know, improving move. Just gonna wait, see what he does. Check your phone when you get a chance. Also, pairings are out. I did see the pairings. How's it going, Michael? So my phone's the camera. Do I need to check it within the next, like, hour? I might can check my texts from my browser. Let's see if it'll work. And hopefully not dox me. It's thinking about working. He's gonna go knight g8, f5, you're gonna get stormed down the king side. We'll see. Oh, okay, wait. Yeah, my text pulled up. Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you, Michael. I didn't recognize the name of my opponent, and then the name you sent looks like different. Oh, I see. It's his middle name. I got you. Okay, that seems fair. Okay. All right. So where were we? Right, I played this, you know, sort of weird-ish move, rook a d1. 3 names, that's nothing. I got like 5. Okay, 4. Okay, so he happily played knight g8. That was his plan. Now, I continued my weird play here. And this move, I'm like less sure about it being good than rook a. I think rook a d1's a good move. The next move, I'm not as sure. But this is another move that I think you guys will like. I don't know, I think it's a not obvious move. But I'm gonna stand by it. So he's gonna take on g7. I did not take on g7. Rook b1. No, I worked so hard to get my rook on d1. Knight e1 hanging the bishop. Does that hang a bishop? Does it? I don't know. Oh, I guess it does. Yeah, it does. You're right. Queen f4. That would be surprising. Okay, so let me nudge you guys in the direction my thought process went. Knight g5 hangs a bishop, I agree. Okay, so first things first is to evaluate whether we should care at all about this. So if he takes and I take, then like my queen's all up in his grill. So that seems like maybe we shouldn't care. But is my queen being up in his grill actually gonna lead to anything? Or is my queen just like there? Does it look good or is it actually doing something? Well, I would argue, like if it were black's turn and that happened, the queen's just there. There's no like logical continuation. But it's not black's turn, it's my turn. So my move is aimed towards creating a continuation. If the queen got to h6 with a knight on g5, it would be ideal. Completely agree with that. That's exactly what I was thinking. How's it going, Behold? H4 is what I played. Which feels a little weird when I played h3 2 turns ago. Knight takes e5. Wait a minute. What's he saying? Knight e5, knight h6, queen h6, f6. What? Line doesn't make any sense. How did f6 get played? Oh, from black. Wait, knight e5, knight h6, queen h6, f6, knight takes g6, not check. Oh, okay, all right, all right. Thanks for following or welcome to the stream. Who was it? Smog the Tremendous Chess. Yeah, he would have g8. Okay, so I played h4. Now let's clear up one tactical point, because the eagle-eyed, you know, viewer will notice that this pawn is under attack twice and is only defended once. So let's go ahead and clear that up. If he takes with the bishop, I take with the knight. He takes with the queen, and then bishop g5 traps his queen. That would be cool. That would be fine with me. I got no problem with that. So he didn't do that. And yeah, if he plays f5, I can do this. I can trade and do this whole thing like I wanted. So he didn't do that either. Yeah, it is kind of the same thing you suggested, Laszlo. So probably he didn't expect h4 because it looks like it hangs a pawn, but it doesn't. Now there is a downside to h4. Ow. I've been having these weird, like, foot cramps lately. Oh. It doesn't, like, hurt. It's just, like, super uncomfortable. Okay, it does kind of hurt. I think it's, like, my foot... It's like a muscle spasm or something, I think. Ah. Okay, I'm good. How do you stretch a foot, though? That's what seems to make it hurt. Okay, I'm good. I'm totally good. Right, h4 gives up the g4 square, so he made use of it. You did not miss much, Camel. You missed me playing some funny moves. My last three moves were rook or h3. That move makes sense. Rook ad1, which is... I still think that's a good move, but I don't know. I could buy an argument that it's not a good move. And then h4. He played bishop g4. Now my pawn is actually threatened. Because he could, like, chop this, you know, something. So I played g3, defending my pawn. And actually this worked out really well, because when I had this pawn structure, I was thinking about how to get this pawn structure, but I was like, well, it's hard to do it without, like, hanging pawns. Like, I'd been thinking about king h2 to defend that and then get them going. But then I was like, oh, what if I just, like, do it, you know? h4 ridiculous? It might be. It felt a little ridiculous, I gotta admit. But I couldn't, like, refute it, so I did it. Okay, now he played a6, which I think is probably not a good move, to be honest. But maybe he just didn't know what to do. Because, I mean, a6 is very typical in the Benoni, because black often wants to play b5. But I think, like, I think b5 is just terrible, like, if he plays it. Like, a lot of times it's, you know, it wins a pawn, you know, well, it sacrifices a pawn, but you get some play, but I don't see the play here. I think it's just giving away a pawn. So my rule in the Benoni is when they play a6, you play a4, but I broke my rule here, because I didn't think I needed to stop b5. Why prevent him from blundering? So instead I played king g2, lending some support to this knight, which could matter, maybe. But perhaps more importantly, the rook can swing back over to the H file, and you know his king's there, and I've got this pawn break later maybe, and there's some potential in the H file. He wins back the A pawn, doesn't he? Now that your rook isn't on A1. Well, I mean, my knight's defending it. So if he plays B5, I just take and take with the bishop. And I think it's all good in the hood. B5 always good for black in the Benoni. I don't believe it. I don't believe it here. I think maybe a problem with your idea of his queen is trapped is it long-term... It binds a lot... No, Zinfafex. I'm not saying his queen is trapped like it can't move. I'm saying it's trapped like he loses it. So if he takes here, 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 there's just no safe square for the queen. So my pieces aren't going to be tied up. They're going to be trading for that queen pretty soon. Know what I mean? So he can't take the pawn. Okay, so king g2, solid improving move, I think. And I think a much more useful move than a6. So I like this, you know, sequence of moves here for white. He played f6. Never play f6. Camel would have played f5. Fair enough. Now, f6 does have an idea, as far as I can tell. He's playing this like a boomer. Well, I mean, he is, you know, he's older. I don't know if he qualifies as boomer, but... So his idea is to play g5 and pseudo-trap my bishop. Trap in the way that Zamfafex was talking about. Like, he's not going to win my bishop, but my bishop, like, won't be able to move, and I don't like that. So I analyzed that, and I was like... Because, like, I'm going to have rook h1 to defend the bishop, but if he can cement a pawn on g5, my bishop can't retreat. You know, I don't like that. So I was like, okay, guy, I'll move my bishop. You know, you wanted me to move my bishop back, I'll move my bishop back. I will comply, finally. Now, again, I'm sort of threatening bishop takes c4, bishop takes c5 with d6 following. Sort of. Again, it's not really winning material. It's kind of trading his bad bishop for my good bishop, but I would get a nice square for my knight, so I was thinking about it. Yeah, this game will probably take another 30 minutes or so, Super Bri, if I had to guess. Bishop may be trapped, but could always take knight on g7. Agree, but isn't that a sort of a tragic fate? You know, are we really, like... We're not itching to trade for this stupid knight, are we? Thanks for following. Welcome to the stream. Reptilia the Third. It's a close position. Yeah, but this bishop still is pretty good, and this knight is still garbage. It's not a hard and fast rule, like position's closed, that means bishop's bad, knight's good. And yeah, the position might open, like, you know, probably somebody's gonna play, you know, something. There's gonna be some pawn break around the corner. Okay, so he did something. He played queen d7, which I thought was a pretty good move. It's not necessarily, like, that difficult of a move to find, but I like that it does a lot of things for black. It threatens bishop h3. That's the first thing we got to address. That would win an exchange. It also possibly supports b5 one day, and it supports f5. And his rooks are connected. So I think queen d7's like a great move. It's an easy move, but it's still great. Okay, so my first thought was rook h1, and then I was like, well, I could consider knight g1. And then I was like, nah, that's stupid, rook h1. That's where I wanted my rook anyway. So, you know, why not? Okay, so it's move 18. So far, nothing has been traded. And we've probably spent about... He was playing faster than me. He was ahead for maybe 15 minutes. By the way, this was game 90, delay 5. I'd probably spent about half of my clock, maybe a little less. And then he'd probably spent like 30 minutes or so. You know, we're doing all this like maneuvering. Nothing's been traded yet. But he had enough. Now it's time for the game to get exciting, finally. Now every move for the rest of the game is like super exciting. So now, get ready to calculate because it's about to get, about to go down. All right. Okay, so he took my knight. I don't super know why he did that, but okay. I thought I knew why. I thought that he was going to play b5. Like if I take with the bishop. Because like that would, you know, that makes sense. He played queen d7, right? So I briefly thought about taking with the king because I liked keeping my bishop here. But, you know, that looks pretty stupid. It makes f5 a lot stronger. So I took with the bishop. And then he played f5. So like I said, now the rest of the game is just every move sharp and interesting. Okay, so what do we do about f5? The guy wants to do stuff. Do we care about his stuff? Should we stop his stuff? How do we stop his stuff? h5. h5. Attack back. I'm going to count that as half of a vote for h5. Bishop g5. I don't really like bishop g5 because I think this bishop's garbage. I don't really want to allow him to trade off that bishop unless I have like a tactical point. a4 and ignore his threats. Man, you guys really like a4. Isn't white winning? I hope so. Taking f5 looks terrible. Only a Protzer would play that raw. Yeah, if I take f5, he's going to take back with his g-pawn, and he's going to start rolling me like he wanted to do a long time ago. This opponent's play is illogical? I don't agree with that. I think, like, I understand why he did all the moves. There's logic. I mean, it might not be good. I don't know. I need the computer, but... Never play e takes f5. Exactly. So you guys say I copy Ben Feingold all the time, but I didn't play e takes f5. Why play f6 then f5? Well, I don't know that it was necessarily his intention. Like, when he played f6, the reason was to try to trap this bishop, right? So then I moved it. And to be fair, f5 is a more powerful idea when my bishop's on e3 because it's trapped. Like, if he plays f4, my bishop's trapped. So there is some reason. g4, but then f4 and you lose a bishop. If only knight a4 were possible, that hangs a knight and a bishop. Dang. Queen e2 is a move? That doesn't hang any pieces as far as I can tell. How's it going, Bynek? How many inums do you have to beat before you become an inum? Is there like a, you know, is there a threshold? Queen d3? I don't know, man. I mean, like, f4 is not trapping my bishop, but I don't necessarily want, you know, f4 is looking a little scary, I think. All right, well, people did say the right move. I played, well, okay, the right move. The move that I played h5, which I think is the right move. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. This happened to me during the game too. I'm tired. Well, I forgot, like, my queen's backing up the bishop. So yeah, pardon me, you're not losing a bishop there. My bad. What are we doing about g5? I was planning to take it, but he didn't do that. So earlier I had been thinking about, like I was thinking about, you know, playing h5. Really, like here, if he, like I thought he might play h5 here, and actually I thought that looked really solid for black. But then I was like, well, if he doesn't, maybe I play h5. Then I was like, he plays g5, and I'm not really breaking through. But when he plays f5, now h5 makes a lot more sense, because now there's no g5. And I'm trying to undermine this. Like, in every instance in the game, when f5 is an idea, like, he wants to recapture with the pawn. So we want to prevent that. We want him to have to recapture with a piece, you know, if that's going to happen. Yeah, that would be the boat if he had pawns like this. I've also heard it called the bathtub. Okay, so when I played h5, my intention was that if he took with the knight, I was going to sack the exchange. And then I was going to go get him. Bring this over and take here and start, you know, doing all this stuff to him. Then, as it was his turn and he was thinking, I was like, if he takes with the knight, I should just take this pawn. That's even better, because he can't recapture because his knight's hanging. And that's all I really wanted, was to be able to take here and not have him recapture with a pawn. So, I think stacking the exchange isn't really necessary. I think it's a reasonable idea still, but... How's it going, Rishidan? Instead, he ended up just taking with the pawn, which I didn't really give a ton of thought to be honest. But I got what I wanted, which was that I can take on f5 and he's not recapturing with a pawn. No, I don't want to give up my bishop yet. h5 was an amazing move. I think h5 is the right move. I was showing the game to some strong players afterwards too, and they all seemed to like, or at least they liked the position after h5. Well, he's on his rating floor, Rishidan. So he became an NM decades ago, and he's probably not at his peak strength. He can't afford to knight takes h5 because of pressure on h7. I mean, yeah, that was sort of what I thought. Before you were born, probably. He probably was an NM before I was born. Maybe not. You're not going to farm Alabamans. We're a hardy folk. Okay, so he played a move here that I hadn't considered, but while it was his turn, I was like, this looks like the best move for black. And he played knight f6, which I think is the best move, because his knight was stupid. Now he's defending h5 some more, and, you know, my f-pawn's hanging. Yeah, I think knight f6 was a good move. He's blocking it up. So I played knight e4. The other main candidate was like rook h3 and try to double. I'm not sure which is best. I really have no idea. How's it going, Daniel? Bishop h6 here could be a candidate move. I agree that it could be. My bishop was pinning that earlier, though, before you were here. Should have played bishop takes h5. Here? I mean, it doesn't look too bad. Alabama man. Well, I would have the 2 bishops, except for everybody's trying to give my bishop away. I don't want to give my bishop away. So I don't know. We'll have to see what the computer says at the end of the game. So I played knight e4, and here he played a move that makes like so much sense, and for some reason I just like didn't even see it was legal. And it's like a super obvious move, but I just like didn't even think about it. B5 is probably playable now. I mean, B5 is maybe a little bit neglecting, you know, it kind of feels like this is where the action is, right? So B5 might be playing on the wrong side of the board. He took my knight, then my pawn. Well, I was hoping he would take my knight, because I really liked the idea of getting my bishop here. Knight takes f5. I wasn't too scared of that. Then I could trade and take this. Queen f5, now you're talking. I was like, oh yeah, he can take with the queen. So now I was like a little bit worried. I was like, did I do something wrong here? Because now I'm like down a pawn. And I'm not sure why I'm down a pawn. On the other hand, like the pawn that I'm down is not, these do not add up to 2 pawns. Maybe these are 1 pawn. So I don't know that I'm really like the material situation's not really a problem, but don't the masters play on different sides of the board as distractions from their plans sometimes? I mean, yeah, that can be a strong idea in chess, but that doesn't mean that it's the right thing all the time. Like, if there's big things happening on one side of the board, I recommend playing on that side of the board. But if it's like, you know, sort of a static advantage on one side of the board, then yeah, a lot of times you want to play on the other side of the board and get an advantage over there too. After the knight moves, white's bishop is crying. Well, what if you don't move your knight? I would consider knight g5 here. I did consider it. But what's the idea? Is the idea my knight looks pretty because it's getting closer to the black king? Because I don't see another idea. Yeah, knight g5 doesn't really have a threat. Knight e6, he takes it. Knight g5, then queen d3. Why do we need knight g5 to play queen d3? Knight takes d5. That is perhaps... Well, knight g5 does defend the bishop on f3. If you could eliminate the knight on g7... Okay, but with our knight on g5, we can't really do that. Because our bishop can't, you know, get there. I'd like to get the white bishop to e4. I mean, that's what I wanted. I was hoping he would take this, and then I would take. So I would agree with that. But it seems like he's not going to let me do it. That's true, Laszlo Damas. Okay, so I'm going to guess that the move I played here is not the best move, because I missed something. So, it's worth pointing out, it did actually take me more than a few seconds to notice this over the board, that my knight is currently hanging. Attacked twice, defended once. So we gotta do something about that. I think you'd play g4. I mean, g4 would be a reasonable idea, except my thing's hanging. Bishop h6 has a similar problem of hanging a knight. Queen d3 is what I played, defending my knight. But I'm not sure if this is a good move. I'm not sure because I saw the game. And it's funny that Laszlo suggested Queen d3 because he already suggested the refutation, but he still suggested Queen d3. Yeah, why wouldn't it be? So I didn't know what he was going to do here. I haven't revealed the outcome of the game, no. Not directly. He did play knight takes d5, which I missed. It's kind of stupid that I missed it because, like, I was noticing if he plays here, like, my bishop's attacked because there's this big old battery, you know? But I was like, whatever, I'll just move my bishop somewhere, you know, and it'll be defended, no problem. But for some reason, it never dawned on me that he could play knight takes d5. Yeah, tell me what was up. So this kind of thing happens in chess when you're, you know, not a grandmaster. You miss, like, little tactical things like this. And I think one thing that makes some players stronger than other players is when something like this happens and they miss some tactic, some players freak out and lose the game when the game doesn't need to be lost. So I think I did a good job here of remaining calm and not overreacting to the fact that I just missed this tactic. Sack everything and win. There you go. See the tactics and then forget about it. Yeah, I do that sometimes. Bishop g5 looks complicated. Isn't that bishop hanging? Bishop takes c5 perhaps? That was one of my candidates. Another candidate I had was bishop h6, as suggested by Rishadan. So let's analyze those candidates. Which one better? Both defend the bishop with my queen. Bishop c1 also defends it. So okay, we can throw that one in too, I guess. I did notice that bishop c5 stops knight b4. Bishop f2, we can't play that one. Knight c3, but then my bishop's hanging. That's why everybody wants to move this bishop. So, you know, this. That was my conclusion, Rishadan. Bishop c5, knight f4 looked kind of hairy to me. I was like, I don't really like that. Bishop c1, I think, is a little too passive. King g1, eek. Eek. I played bishop h6, which I'm going to say is the best move. Again, we'll check with the computer after I show the whole game. Why not bishop d2? A better question is why bishop d2? On h6, I'm like, I mean, I'm ready. Like, I'm about to do stuff, finally. Knight b4? Why do we want to prevent knight b4? Dig deeper. Search your feelings. Is knight b4? That attacks your queen. Are you going to hang your queen or are you going to move it? Floored NM, yeah, my specialty. this position is kind of groovy. That's actually a pretty good analogy, Zamphifex. Maybe Levy isn't, you know, as dumb as he appears. Okay, I'm kidding, but a little bit. The Twitch people can't see what Zamphifex said, so I'll read it. Levy explains missing a tactic, then the game, as you're crossing the street, a car hits you, but you're fine. You feel frustrated, so instead of seeking safety, you get hit by another car. That's a really good analogy for what I was trying to say. That was Star Fox. I know he's not dumb, but, you know, he does cater to a pretty dumb audience sometimes. No, that's a very good analogy. That's right on, that's head on the nail, or nail on the head. Nail on the head. Levy's whole community. Oh no, I'm sorry, Levi's whole community. His whole community is like 100,000 people. No, the CL community likes Ferdinand. Okay. He played knight b4, which I thought was like not a good move, to be honest. Because I don't think my queen's that great on d3. I don't think his knight's that good on b4. So I think he's like moving his knight away from the action, and my queen just gets to be on a fine square anyway. So I played queen e2, and I was like, okay, fine. Like, I mean, you gonna take that pawn? Like, with all this stuff going on? Like, fine. That sounds like Ben. I saw that during the game. I was like, oh, he might play knight c2. I was like, well, okay, knight c2 doesn't really do anything. But now h4. I did think about that at some point. I can't remember if it was here or not. H4, I mean, maybe I can take on d6, but maybe I can't. I don't know. He played knight c6, which, you know, also looks to get here, but in a more sane way. I think I agree with that. But that does allow all this stuff that DeGinch said. So I started doing all that stuff. It feels like I should be winning, right? Like, I got the H-file going, like, my knight's pretty good. His queen's attacked. He went here? Now what? Knight d4, how does knight d4 lose a piece? Explain. Yeah, I think d4 is like a, yeah. That was like the only thing, I was so afraid of that. Rook takes d6, triple exclam, then he says, no, I lied. Damutron says, rook takes d6 looks killer. Vindictive says, now rook takes d6, question mark, or too much. Rook takes d6. Rook takes d6 is interesting, because maybe knight d4. Alright, well, let's calculate. Rook d6, knight d4, rook takes g6. I agree with that line. I think rook takes d6 wins. By the way, I had about, let's say 16 minutes on my clock, and he had about 20. And then when I made my move, I had 12 minutes left, and he had about 20. Rook d6, bishop d6, rook g5, we lose all our pieces. I'm not seeing the tactic with rook takes d6. Well, the idea is rook takes d6. If he takes with the queen, you take it. We all agree with that. If he takes with the bishop, then there's rook g5. So it looks like a rook for two rooks for a pawn and the queen. Rook d6, bd6, rook g5, bishop e7. Okay, wait. The bishop's already on e7. Oh, wait. Oh, no. Okay, I see what you're saying. The bishop went back to e7. Rook g6, hg. And black is better. He claims. That's similar to the game. Actually, I think that, yeah, that's very similar to the game. Rook d6, bishop d6, rook g6, knight d4. Continue. Yeah, rook g5, not rook g6. After knight takes g5, we threaten knight e6 fork. That is relevant in some line, yeah. Black looks winning there. Is there a funny line with knight d6, bishop d6, rook takes h7? That might be too funny. Yeah, I don't see a problem with queen takes. Issue is knight d4, it seems. Yeah. Well, you guys honed in on what I was thinking about. When did you start playing chess? I started playing chess in 2014. And I don't remember what got me into it. I don't think there was like a... Like, I just started playing and I got hooked. I don't think there was like a catalyst. Dismiss the tactic, need to find a good candidate. Okay, alright, what's an alternative? That's actually something I've been focusing on lately. Sort of unintentionally, but I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good practice, like... Whenever you're doing something kind of bold in chess, you should consider alternatives that are, like, not as insane. Be like, can we just do something, like, normal? House top knight d4, it's so hard. That's true. I agree with that. Rook dh1? I mean, that seems very natural. If we don't do it, they play knight d4 when we resign. Queen e3 looks good. One of the strong players that I showed the game to suggested... What did he suggest? Oh yeah, he suggested, and this was like sort of offhand, so we didn't really calculate this out all the way. But he was like, maybe you just get your pieces out of this and play bishop g4, knight d4, queen e3, and he can't take because then stuff's going on. But we didn't actually, it was sort of just like a thought that he had. We didn't really flesh that out. Seems kind of believable, but... Michael likes rook takes d6. What about knight takes c5? With what point? I don't get it. Ah, no worries, Michael. Why rook h1 so bad? I mean, rook h1 is pretty tempting, but ooh, man. Like, I kind of need my rook to sack on d4 in some circumstances. Knight c5, knight d4. Well, why not take the knight? I'm confused. Still like black after bishop g4. Knight d4, queen e3. Still like black. I mean, that knight is like pretty immense. You're losing the bishop. Yeah, it does look like it. Rook d6, bishop d6, rook g5, knight d4, rook g6, hg. Knight takes d6, but your queen's hanging. So you can't play knight takes d6. Your queen's hanging on e2. Maybe we allow knight d4. Rook h1, knight d4, rook h7, queen h7, rook h7, king h7, queen d3, knight f3, knight... Ah, I don't know. Too complicated. Alright, I played rook takes d6. I couldn't resist. And we basically calculated, I think, all the relevant lines. Go back, try knight c3? But why are we... Oh, my god. Knight d4 is so good in, like, every line. Rook d4, c4, bishop e4. I mean, yeah, that doesn't look too bad. Queen f6, knight d5. Wait. I mean, I sort of buy it. I like, it doesn't look too bad. Do you mind putting M line on the board? Knight c3 is legit. Sack the queen on e2. Alright. So here's what we're gonna do, because a million lines have been suggested, and they're all too complicated for me, is we're gonna revisit this position with the computer once we get through the rest of the game, which will probably take another like 15 minutes or so. I kind of like this knight c3 suggestion, to be honest. It didn't occur to me. But rook takes d6 is better for the fans. So don't worry, like, we'll look over it, I swear, but like later, because I can't calculate all this crap. Okay, so he took it, and I played here, and he did this. So this is pretty similar to one of the camel lines. So basically, at the end of the day, we both have a bishop hanging, so no problem. My queen's hanging, so I moved my queen. So this whole sequence, like, it worked out tactically, but I don't actually know, like, who's better at the end of it. So I don't know. It, like, it worked, but I don't know. You like black? Well, this bishop's not too good. Rook f3. Knight takes d6, he probably means. Rook a f8. I guess I would just put my knight back on e4. Defend f2. You like white, you like black. White has the winning chances. It's a 2-result game. Probably, yeah. Black hopes to draw. If you put the knight on d5, it's probably fine for everyone. I thought about that, but this is a pretty tender point here. So the knight might want to stay here and keep an eye on that. White is in big doo-doo. Well, the consortium of strong players that I showed the game to afterwards said that they thought black should take and allow this trade because my bishop's better than his. Which seems pretty true. But he played here. Not doing that. Hello, Moscow. Knight is eternally stuck on e4. On the best square on the board, it's stuck. Dang, too bad. Let me at this NM. Yeah, everybody thought he should have traded him. Now white has chances. Are NMs good players? Yes. Okay, now my bishop's hanging, so I moved it. Okay, and we're nearing the time scramble portion of the game. NMs are terrible, says the NM. Huh, okay. NMs are people who have been 2200 at one point. This particular gentleman became an NM, you know, at least a decade or two ago, and he's not at his peak strength anymore. I'd rather play as black just because I feel like rooks are very powerful, and having two of them is easier to play with than a single queen. Yeah, I mean, it's... I've always had trouble, like, understanding the queen versus two rooks imbalance. Generally, if the rooks are coordinated, they're better. Let's add to that. If the rooks are coordinated and active, then the rooks are better. These rooks are, like, not really active, but it's not difficult to envision them becoming active. And the queen's usually better if the board's open and there's lots of weaknesses to attack, which is not really the case yet. So I will entertain the notion that the rooks might be better. Don't different countries have different criteria for being an NM? That's true. I gave the criteria in the US. No, he's not 1850. Like, he kind of bounces between 2050 and his floor. So no, he's not, like, horrendously, you know, overrated. You want to double in the H-file? That makes sense. I once blundered in chess and lost. Not me. Never did that. What's the point of saving Black's bishop? I don't know. He probably should have traded him. That's true. This guy did almost tie for first at the state championship. He's not a slouch. I'm interested in how this game ends. All right, fine. I'll show you. Okay. He played b5, which I think looked reasonable. I sort of expected it, but in retrospect, I'm not sure it's that good. There's no NM in your country. I'm going to guess your country's Russia, since your name's Moscow. There's FIDE Master. Yeah, in the US, a lot of tournaments aren't FIDE. They're USCF only, so NM's a bit more common here. B5 crazy like Fox News. Yeah, I think I agree. I didn't realize it at the time, but... like, one of the things I just said a second ago about queen versus two rooks is the queen's better when there's... one thing that can make the queen better is when there's lots of weaknesses to attack. And now these pawns are more likely to become weak than when his pawn was back here. Everything was kind of Gucci. Okay, I played b3 to defend my pawn. I wasn't thrilled with b3 at the time, but I think it's good. You're not from Russia. Okay, it was a good guess. Is opening the B file a good idea? I don't think it's a bad idea. I mean, if he trades, I was thinking about maybe my queen can come to a4 and try to get active, you know, somewhere. Okay, so now, after playing b5 for some reason, now he employed Camel's idea. I was very worried here. I agree my queen is too passive. I was very concerned because his plan is to double on the H-file. I can't stop him from doubling on the H-file, and I can't defend the H-file. And, you know, I could get checkmated. And I had, like, 7 minutes on my clock. So what do we do to uncheckmate ourselves? Queen H1, defend the H-file? That's a good idea. Back that bish up? Nah, then you're gonna get checkmated. D5? Wait. Oh, if the queen gets to D5? I mean, we got bigger fish to fry right now. He's going here, and then he's going to checkmate me. Notice how if he gets there that it's checkmate. Like here, here, here. Do you see how it's checkmate? We gotta not... That's a problem. F3 looks like the only way to run. But that's not much running, because his rook moves this way. F4. Oh man, you guys are opening the king up even more. I mean, at least we're getting room to move around, I guess. No, I think there's better than that. F3, knight F2, bishop H3. I mean, that might hold, but in the long run, if we put our pieces on the most passive squares possible, you know, we're probably just delaying the inevitable. King G1, bishop F3, G2. That... Maybe. Queen G1. No, that one I really don't understand. Say hey vindictive, says somebody on YouTube. Daniel Gentry. You always have knight D2 and knight F3. Yeah. I think I found a better way to solve these problems. Because so far the suggestions all involve bottling my pieces up and defending. And then he can do whatever he wants with his pieces. I don't get Queen G1. Can we explain Queen G1? Why not analyze with an engine? I'm going to. I just want to analyze with my brain first. And let you guys analyze with your brains. Queen G1 stops Rook H2 check when they double. I mean, we're putting our queen on like the worst possible... Like, oh my god. You won't get mated. I agree with that. Come on, there's a better way to not get mated. What piece is murdering us? What's the piece that is like, oh my god, why does black have this amazing piece? The knight. Get rid of that knight. Queen takes d4, exactly. Okay, no, but... Knight c3, e2, yeah, I mean, maybe. But that's not forcing. I didn't see that, Camel. That's interesting. I did it sort of different. Man, your idea's probably better, though. This is just terrible. I like this Queen E1, Knight C5. I didn't see that. I did something more normal looking. I don't think this is terrible. I think this is like equal. I think it's a 3-result game. You should be focusing on the fact that black's king is exposed. I would do that if he weren't about to checkmate me. I like Camel's solution. It's not what I played. But his solution might be better than mine. It wouldn't shock me. Yeah, I didn't find that. Bishop e6 moving his knight away from d4. Well, close. F4. Nah, but then he's getting... Then my king... Nobody's found my move yet. I can't believe it. It's not that hard. Like, it's not... I swear it's not crazy. Queen d2. Oh, bishop h3 Xamph effects? I think that I categorize that as too passive. Like, we're crawling into a ball to not get mated, but then all our pieces suck. What's the idea of queen d2? b4. I like Camel's crazy suggestions. Do 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 do. Rook ad1 was a great move. I played queen d2. What's the idea? Just give us the move. I did. Don't know. Knight g5 to e6, yeah. Because this... Oh my god, I gotta get rid of that knight. How's it going, GP Bear? So yeah, I'm gonna play knight g5. And if he lets me, then I'll get rid of this knight that's murdering me. Then my king never gets mated. He can do whatever he wants on the h-file and it doesn't matter. And if he takes it with the bishop, then, you know, I have counter, like, I'm threatening that, I'm threatening that. His king's really exposed, like, yeah, he probably doesn't want to let that happen. Show us the ending. This was a very slow way to do the same thing. Well, I didn't see queen e1. I think I do like queen e1 better, but I didn't see it. What can I say? Yeah, queen d2. That's what I played. I don't know if it was right. Why not knight c3, e2? I mean, I like my move better. It's more active. My queen's actually terrible on d1. I don't know if anybody noticed that. My queen has, like, nothing to do. So I prefer moving my queen to a better square than moving these pieces that are already on good squares. Know what I mean? Your queen belongs on light square. But I'm trying to not get mated here. Like, that's... like, once I stop myself from getting mated, then I'll think about, you know, putting my pieces on the best squares. How is this better than knight d2, knight f3? I mean, I don't like my queen here. When my queen's on d2, I can go, like, everywhere. Like, if you go knight d2, knight f3, like, the guy might just move his knight. Now, I don't know, I feel like we're just very passive. Like, yeah, we're not gonna get in trouble in these squares, but we're not doing anything. Queen c1 is, yeah, sort of the same idea. Queen d2 just felt like a bit better of a square. But I don't know, it's hard to say. Actually, I did think about it. I liked d2 better because I thought maybe I could pop one up in here, maybe. And from c1, I can't do that. Small difference. Rook d8 looks fun for black? Maybe. Well, he kept going with his plan. Why should he stop? And I kept going with my plan. And he kept going with his plan. And I kept going with my plan. And he moved his king. I got rid of his knight. He took with the c-pawn, taking towards the center, getting a passed pawn and whatnot. What should black have done differently? Digench. He did play king f7. Why not do e-takes? It's a fair question. Take towards the center, you know? Yeah, I don't know. Black could prevent knight e3. Knight e6, you mean? I thought everything that happened made sense. I was actually expecting him to take... This was another instance where, like, in my calculation, I was expecting this. But then when the position happened, I was like, oh, I think maybe taking with the c-pawn is better. Maybe you don't want to give up this check here. Maybe. Okay, so he took... Now, I think that white's winning here. But it wouldn't shock me if I'm wrong. But I feel very confident that what I did is best. To say that white is winning is optimistic, maybe. CB Queen E2, correct. So we traded some pawns. And then... Remember what I said about queens and 2 weaknesses? Now do you guys like white? Can I convince anyone that white's winning yet? White's much better. I like how you were like, that's too optimistic, and then 2 moves later you're like, alright, you're much better. I can't bait you into white supremacy that easily. Man, I tried. Not even in Alabama? Camel, don't I have queen d5 check winning the d-pawn? And then I'm not scared of nothing? Although I might, I don't know, I might take the e-pawn, I don't know. I have to figure it out. Without pawns and bishops, which side is generally winning? King and queen versus king and 2 rooks? I think that that's supposed to be a draw, but I would lose with either side. White is winning here, impossible to survive all the checks that will follow. I think black can fight somehow. Those rooks look stupid on the h-file. Yeah, again, this position came up in the strong player review, and the strong players were like, yeah, these rooks look great, but what are they doing? They're not doing nothing. It's 1 check, and then the king runs away, and... Alright, you checked me. Okay, he played bishop f6, I believe. Yeah, bishop f6 was the last move I notated, so the rest of the game might be a little iffy. If you know what I mean. If you know what I mean. So let's see if I can remember. I took this, then he did something. I think that he did this. Does that move make sense? And he offered me a draw somewhere around here. I can't remember exactly where. Is this what he did? No, he went here. That's what he did. Because he wants to meet check with rook e7. That's definitely what he did. I think this is where... Yeah, he didn't hang his rook. Right. He went here. I think this is where he offered a draw. Right, and he also wants to play e4 camel style. I remember now. So we're both at like 5 minutes. Okay, so I played bishop f3 to prevent e4. Because if he plays e4, there's check, and then I can take it. He brought his other rook back. I played bishop e4. Just putting my pieces on the best squares. Stopping his counterplay. I can do this whenever I want, I think. And then here, he made the losing move. Unless there were some other moves that happened first that I can't remember. If he's not losing already, which I assume he is. But he definitely made the losing move here. Oh, Zamfafex, I stopped annotating because because I was under 5 minutes. So the rules in the US Chess Federation are if one player is under 5 minutes, then you don't have to notate the moves anymore. The exception is if there's an increment of 30 seconds or more. If there's at least an increment of 30 seconds, then you always notate. But this game, there was only a delay of 5 seconds. Always decline draws from NMs. I had actually been thinking about offering him a draw earlier. And then when he offered it, which I think was, I'm almost certain it was here that he offered the draw. I was pretty tempted because I was like, a draw would be a good result. But then I was like, nah, I think I can win. So, okay, we got here and he played rook c8 and now chat will take it from here. Rook c8, what a potser. Well, it was time trouble. We were both around 3 minutes here. Even I wouldn't play that in Makwa. I won the g6 pawn? Yeah, I think I won more than that. Queen d7, bishop e7, bishop takes g6. You can do better, Infinite Potato. I'm also glad I didn't take the draw. Bishop d5, yeah, now you're talking. Bishop d6, if it were legal, would be good. But I know what you meant. Right. So queen check. If he goes back, then I take the rook. So he has to block with the bishop. And the first thing I saw, like some of you guys, was I can take this and win a pawn. And then I realized this was better. He's losing much more than a pawn here. I'm gonna say that it's probably forced mate. I'm gonna guess the computer announces mate. Because I don't see how he's not losing a ton of material. So he resigned here. But yeah, the only like semi-sensible move is here, but then check. I'm winning the bishop with check. I mean, yeah, he's just toast. It's over. It's over. Yeah, I think it was a good win. Let's run the computer. I thought it was a very interesting game. There's a lot of moments I'm interested to see what the computer has to say, because it was very complex, at least for someone like me. No, we haven't run the computer yet, but it's running now. Yeah, we'll look at the, there were so many things suggested, but I'll try to look at, you know, the big moments. Okay, so I was never really worse. There were some moments where, like, I was better and then gave it away. Okay, so we'll start from the beginning. So yeah, the computer just loves this for white, but again, it doesn't really matter what the computer thinks. It doesn't like castles. It says I should play g3. Okay, I don't know why g3, but whatever. Use actual analysis, not game review. The server analysis is much better than the browser analysis. So I will go with the server analysis. Yeah, I would never really think of g3, but okay, castles is fine. I mean, it's like +1. Knight e8, I was right, is a little strange. Okay, here's where I'm... Basically from here is where I'm kind of interested in what the best moves are. Okay, so bishop h6 is fine, but it wants to just not care and play king h1 or queen d2 and not care about f5. I cared about f5, so... Knight g7's the best move. Queen d2's the best move. King h8. Okay, he went knight f6, which is also okay. It does want to do knight e1 here. Interestingly. And maneuver the knight to d3. Makes sense. It says h3 is the second best move. Similar. King h8's the best move. Again, it likes knight e1. But rook ad1 is not as bad as it appears. It wants knight e1 or bishop e3. It likes knight e1 the most. I like my move. Knight g8 is the best. Actually, it says knight g8's like the only move. Well, I mean, okay. Like, this is maybe a threat. It wants to save the bishop. h4 dubious. I'll say h4 interesting. What does rook ad1 accomplish? It was sort of a waiting move. I decided I didn't care about this. And I think my rook's better on d1. Because I can do something later. I don't know, something. It's basically a waiting move. It sort of threatens this. I hadn't fully figured out if that mattered or not, but... Knight h2? Okay. It says that's fine. It feels, I don't know, it feels unnatural to me. But I mean, I'll point out that it's not playing f4 in the line that it's giving. It's actually playing g4. I don't know, that feels weird to me. I was thinking about the knight e1 to d3 maneuver in the game, but it just never really happened. Okay, rook ad1, knight g8. Yeah, it says he should just, you know, get the bishops. Computers be liking bishops. Bishop g4. Okay, now it says bishop g4 is the best move. This is the only part of the game. Well, this is one of two parts where I'm like maybe slightly worse. g3 is the best move. Yeah, a6 is too slow. It wants him to just play queen d7 right away. That makes sense to me. a6 doesn't threaten anything or do anything. King g2 is good. f6 is kind of slow also. It actually does want to take this. I thought that was crazy. Yeah, I don't see what he's gonna do on the light squares though. Not too worried. All right, I saved my bishop. Now wait a minute. Okay, hold up, because I actually saw that this was legal. I saw this line that it's spitting out. Takes. Like, I saw that was legal. But I was like, why? Why am I doing that? Like, why am I sacrificing my knight for 2 pawns? So what's it doing? It's saying this is the top line. Take. Jack. Here. Takes. Take. Here. All right, I'm never doing that. Why did we do that? It's all about this. I mean, okay. Okay, that's crazy. It's not saying that's like winning. It's giving like a small advantage. Now it says equal, black's a hair better. Queen d7's good. It actually does like knight g1 more than rook h1. Like, I thought I was crazy for even stopping to think about knight g1. Now it says they're about the same. And it likes f5, but it doesn't like him trading and then playing f5. I don't know why he traded. Like, hey, let's trade a bishop for a knight and then open the position. Like, I don't get it. I wonder why he did that. This was the position that I thought maybe he would play h5. Is that crazy? Okay, it says that's a little crazy. Oh, but it's, I mean, it's still doing this crap. Now it makes more sense, though, because this is hanging. I didn't see that. Okay. So now it likes white again. Okay, it does like f5 here. It's not giving h5. I thought h5 was so good. Yeah, that line's hard to consider. Okay, now h5's creeping up there. We're gonna say h5 triple X clam. Camel agrees. h5 puts him to the test. Taking it's good. Taking on f5 is correct. Camel wanted to take this. Terrible. That actually is terrible. It says black's winning. Take... Yeah, and then he gets this f4, which is annoying. Oh, I actually saw this. I saw this in the game, but I didn't point it out. Take, here. Well, you know, here. I saw that. I forgot to tell you that I saw that. Okay, so that actually is terrible. It says he should just take with the queen right away. I thought knight f6 was pretty smart. It does like bishop h6. Knight e4 mistake. I believe it. That's true, Zamfafex. Yeah, and then taking the pawn. Now this is the other stanza of the game where black's better, but only a little bit. Queen d3, not as bad as it appears. Even though I hung d5, it's not that big of a deal. It actually says knight g4 is better. I don't remember exactly what I was going to do. Probably I was going to take it, which is not what the computer's doing. Now it likes black quite a bit. So, good thing for me he didn't do that, I guess. Now it's equal. It actually does say bishop d2 is the best move. We were memeing about that. How is bishop d2 any kind of good move? That's... Ugh. Come on. How is bishop h6 not better than that? Gross. How's it going, Italian machine? Knight takes c5 here. Yeah, okay, so this is where I was thinking about this, and then I was like, oh my god, knight f4. Computer's like, it's still equal. But I thought this was too... I thought this looked too shaky for white. But I don't care about knight b4, so why am I playing bishop d2? Like, I don't care about knight b4. It's a later position, okay. White queen d2... Wait. Instead of... Queen d2? What? I'm confused. Oh, bishop d2. I don't know why either of those instead of bishop h6. Like, now I'm actually threatening to do stuff. The thing is, here it says knight f4 is still a good move, which I sort of believe. That seems believable. Okay, so that's why it doesn't... So it's giving knight f4 g takes, which is crazy, which allows check and take the bishop. So it doesn't like the bishop here because in some line it's getting forked. What if we just take like this? That's okay too, but not as okay. I mean, I agree this is starting to look kind of scary. Knight f4 would have been... Knight f4 would have been pretty tough. Didn't see that at all. So that's why the computer wants to have its bishop somewhere back here. Yeah, knight b4 is terrible. Okay, at least I understood that about the position. That knight b4 is like a worthless move. Yeah, it wants to take... Okay, I mean, it's the same. Taking here first or not. Knight c6 is good. White's winning here, it says. Or close to winning, let's call it. Takes, takes, takes. Queen g6. Rook takes d6, question mark. It says just double the rooks. Come on. Well, what about knight d4? It's actually saying all that stuff that one of you guys said. I don't remember who. This is where you wanted knight takes c5, which I didn't understand. All right, what's knight takes c5? I don't get it. The computer also doesn't get it. Knight c3 was suggested. I want to look at that too. I don't know. What's the point of this move? Because the computer says rook takes f3 equal, which means there's something going on here that I don't understand. dc5, bishop takes c6. I mean, I still kind of don't get it. I mean, I guess that looks pretty strong. Are we getting to the king, or it just looks like we're getting to the king? I mean, it must be good because the computer's doing this to stop that from happening. So it's got to be good. Queen c6 check. Okay, wait, what? Oh yeah, you guys were wrong. Although, I want to say someone suggested this, or maybe it was in a different line. Yeah, I think Acratic suggested this in a different line. But this is winning. That does seem pretty believable. Yeah, this not good. Right. As Camel points out. Okay. Now it says the best move is knight g5. I'm so tired. I'm supposed to understand that? It's the same idea. Knight g5, bishop g5, bishop e4. Who's finding these moves? Rook f5, g4. Rook f2. These are all extremely findable moves. And both sides mutually resign. Okay, it says white's winning. We'll just choose to blindly believe that. Okay, now the deal with this, someone suggested some line like this. And then queen d3 exclam. Oh, wait, that's not d3. Queen d3. Is there some, like, mate here that I'm not seeing? I guess I kill him here. King F8. Let's just humor me for a minute. I guess knight G5 is good. Knight G5 does look good. Okay. Yeah. Who made chess this hard? I guess we go here. Oh, no, we play the obvious only winning... Okay, that actually is obvious. Never mind. Because my thing's hanging too. Oh, okay. Big if true. Because the computer said it's better. I mean, it said that was good too. It says this is good. It just likes Queen D3 better. Like, I don't know who's playing Queen D3 and not Rook H7. I agree with you. I think the deal is, yeah, here the only good move is Queen D3. So it's just like a move order thing. If you don't play Queen D3, then you're worse. Go figure. No, it was Gary Chess. That's who made chess hard. Alright. But that's not as fun as taking this pawn. Okay, takes. Here, these are all the best, the latest and greatest moves. It says here I should just play Queen D2. Okay, this is like the same. Queen... It likes Queen D2 better than Queen D1, which I guess... I guess that makes total sense, considering in the game later I was like, my queen on D1 is bad, let's put it on D2. I basically just stopped at like, why am I letting him tempo my queen, but then I just take here. No problem. Okay, so Queen D1's a bit of an inaccuracy. Think it's unfair black's not better? Yeah, it says it's like equal, maybe white's better. I kind of had that feeling in the game too. I was like, at first I thought I got one over on him with rook takes D6, and then when we got here I was like, I don't know, am I actually better? Maybe black's doing good. Now, yeah, it says he should take this, which makes sense. Okay, the computer wants to go knight D2, which never occurred to me. That makes some sense because we're not particularly concerned about him giving away his amazing knight, and we're also putting pressure here. Knight D2 makes sense, it's just sort of it's a bit of a hard move to consider because the knight looks better on E4 than D2. But white's almost winning after knight D2. B5 terrible. B3 terrible, which I sort of felt during the game. And now it says he should play B4. Yeah, that keeps his pawns from becoming weak. Thanks for following whomever, let's see. Witty Alien Jr. Okay. Says I should play Queen E1. I thought about doing something like that. Try to get my queen, you know, good somewhere. B3 terrible. Rook H8 terrible. Every move terrible basically now, proving that we weren't cheating. Queen D2 terrible. Rook H6 is one of the best moves. Knight G5 is the best move. He should take with his bishop and allow the counterplay. You're not going to see the last game he fights with knights? The last game I'm going to spend like 10 minutes on, because it sucks. Okay, and now he's like basically lost. But this is a mistake. It says I should play knight h3 and keep my pieces bottled up forever. Preposterous. Knight h3, oh my god. Horrific. How is that logical? Then my pieces don't do anything, they just sit and defend. But it's not my single knight, it's my knight and my bishop. Also, my bishop can be, or my knight can be... Wait, I'm sorry. I'm getting mixed up. Wrong line. I don't know, man. I guess I can buy it. Just seems so passive. Now he needs to actually take, and then it's equal. I understand him not wanting to do that. Okay, now he's probably losing again. Taking with the c-pawn is correct, but it's thinking about throwing in rook h2. If rook h2, I was thinking about just playing king g1. But king f3 might be good too. It's playing king f1. I mean, yeah, I don't think I'm ever really getting in trouble. For some reason, it wants bishop f3. I guess I agreed the bishop's better there, and we're kind of stopping the pawns. But I thought this was nice. Like, I thought I'm just winning here, and that just says equal. It's taking a perp. Why can't I play... I can't play king f3? How come? I don't get it. Why can't I play king f3? Rook d8 equal. All right, I don't get. Let's play rook f8. That move I understand a little bit more. I guess the thing is we're gonna lose this guy. Huh. I guess I believe it. Rook d8 I don't really get. I guess making a queen's good. I guess that's the point. Dang, tough. I wouldn't have evaluated that as his drawing. That was his last hope. Now he's completely lost. Do 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 do. Camel's feeling was right at choice moments. Basically here and here he could fight. But every other moment he was dead. Yeah, now he's just dead. Now now the pawns are gonna tell the story if nothing else does. Bishop, yeah, it wants bishop e2, but this seems good too. Bishop e4, I like bishop e4. And then tactics. Okay, so it wasn't like perfectly squeaky clean, but pretty good. I mean, I don't care about the draw offer, like... He's a higher rated player, it was a time scramble. I don't mind the draw offer. How's it going, Imquander? Oh, I won, I beat this guy. That's all, that's what I do, is I beat Florida Ims. That's what I do. I mean, I guess, I don't know. I think it was a pretty good game. It was just complicated. There were a lot of difficult choices for both sides. I'm not really going to get too upset about, you know, not making the perfect choice in every position. Like, to me, I look at it and I say I was never worse, and the game was always complicated. Like, it was never really clear what black should be doing, and he didn't play perfectly, so I won. I mean, I don't think that's even the most critical part of the game, though. Like, I mean, I can understand knight h3, but I think there's more important stuff. Like, I think this phase of the game was probably more critical. Like here, this is probably, I mean, this is the biggest mistake of the game, I would say. And I mean, even though it ended up not being a big deal, but I just missed this tactic. Like, I'm more upset about missing tactical shots like that than anything. Like, I'm really just lucky that this doesn't really matter much. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it's just, you know, it was a complicated game, so. Okay, well, let's look at the second game. I'm including the second game in the stream just to be fair. Not only going to show the games that I play well, but this game really is not interesting at all. So I was playing Miles Melvin, who I've played once before. Let's get the tags in here. He's the son of one of the NMs that I beat in the state championship back in September. So he was out to avenge his father. Let's see what his Elo is. I think he's like 2030 or something. Where do you go? There he is. $2032. So the one previous time that we played, he got his knight trapped in the center of the board on move like 15. And then I was up at knight the whole game, and he tricked me and he won. Because he's better than me. Sometimes people that are better than you, they do that. You're beating them and then they trick you. So you gotta watch it. That's my advice. Okay, so it was a very fast dragon, but not the fastest, but pretty fast. So when I played G6, he sort of took a moment and he kind of muddled through the next few moves a little bit, which made me think maybe he's not that well booked up on the accelerated dragon. But when we talked after the game, he was like, yeah, I knew the line I played was kind of dubious, but I like playing dubious lines. So, okay, fine. Now, I mean, that said, for the most part, he played like the main book lines. Although, you know, C4 is probably stronger, but this is like, you know, well-established theory. Everything normal. This is all good in the hood. And then when he played, like again, he's kind of taking like a minute or two with each of these moves. So when he played bishop c4, I quickly castled because I knew it was the book move, and I was hoping that I would sort of, like, if he doesn't know the opening, I thought maybe he would just castle quickly also. But he didn't. He actually thought a long time here. And he did play what I'm guessing is a pretty dubious move here, but I can't prove it. I see castles all the time. I get it online all the time, and I've gotten it over the board at least a couple times. But yes, castles is a bad... I mean, castles is... to illustrate the problem with castles is black has this trick. And this is considered equal for black. So it's not like you're winning anything, but you're kind of taking the sting out of the position, and it's just equal. White's advantage is gone. So I was hoping for castles. The main book move is bishop b3, which gets out of the way of any d5 later. So this trick never works. So once he started thinking for a while, I was like, well, I guess he knows the deal about castles. So I guess he's probably going to play bishop b3. Then he played queen d2, which I don't know. But that doesn't appear to stop this idea. So I did some calculating to try to decide if that still works. Knight g4 was also a very big candidate move. But I didn't quite believe it. Like, knight g4, say he castles. What's the big deal? Yeah, I kind of knew queen d2's not right, but I wasn't 100% sure how to punish it. I just think if he's castling long, like, I don't think he necessarily minds. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, his dark squares might get pretty weak, but I don't think he necessarily minds this, and he's got lines open. I mean, knight g4, like, it was a candidate. Like, it seems like a totally reasonable move. Yeah, I know bishop b3 is the move. But I think this is what he meant when he said after the game that he just likes to play kind of dubious stuff. Killing it there? I mean, I can believe it. I mean, okay, maybe he won't castle. Maybe he'll do something, you know. I guess the thing is he can't do anything because his guy's hanging. He could take here first, which also seems fine. So maybe knight g4 was good. I decided to take this. I thought that looked even better. I mean, my experience is that when black gets this, it's almost always good. And he took back, and I got my fork. And we traded. Fine. And he castled, which I hadn't really considered. Now I can't take one of my pieces back because of this annoying pin. So I had to figure out, you know, what to do about that. I saw two options that I thought made a reasonable amount of sense. I thought queen c7 looked good, and I thought bishop f5 looked good. So those are my two candidates. Both resolved the pin. One by getting out of the pin, one by defending the queen another time. Yeah, rook b8 is definitely on the agenda. Agree with that. Yeah, I decided to play queen c7, and specifically I thought that maybe white is kind of enjoying things here a bit. Because now I have to take this to get my piece back, and then I'm getting you know, this pawn structure is kind of rickety, and it probably can't be too bad, but it's probably not too good either. So I liked queen c7 more. Bishop g4? I did think about bishop g4. I thought f3 was fine for white. I didn't see what the big deal was. I can win the game, but, you know, didn't. Okay, so queen c7. And he played a move that, I was like the move I most thought he would play, bishop h6. Confused Pawn, thanks for following. Welcome to the stream. Okay, so now black has big decisions to make. Decisions that will shape the rest of the game. I mean, there's actually a lot of moves that black can play, but which one should we play is the question. So what would you guys do and what would you consider? Yeah, I thought about queen e5. Consider bishop h8. That was also a move I considered. Bishop e5, but after f4. Yeah, I mean, I was very tempted. Like, let's just move this bishop, sack the exchange, and then attack for the rest of the game. Bishop h6 obviously is a candidate also. Bishop h8, bishop h6, rook d8. It's not bad, Zamfafex. It's a move to consider. I mean, the thing is, we're currently down a piece. We're getting one of these guys back. At some point, we're gonna have to probably decide which one we want back, because he's gonna move one of them. You don't think you can sack by, like, moving the bishop? You want the knight? Socratic. I was very conflicted which piece I wanted. You like bishop? Yeah, I tend to like bishops too. So I thought if I took the bishop that the knight would be pretty happy here, or possibly on c3. Did something just happen? I thought I heard, maybe it was just the music. And I thought if I took the knight that the bishop would be pretty happy on b3. Or just on c4 where it already is. So I was like, I don't know which one of these pieces I want. I don't know if I want to take this first and then take one of the pieces. Bishop h8's floating around in my mind. I could also just do none of that. Like, he doesn't really have a threat that resolves the fact that I'm getting one of these pieces. By the way, I'm never scared of this, which we talked about after the game. Because this seems like too much attack for white, or for black. That was my read anyway. Queen e5 I think is reasonable too, yeah. Yeah, I could just do something, like I don't have to do anything. I thought about e5. If we take the bishop, they take and queen d4. Yeah. But I mean, you know, maybe we're getting some play. So, yeah. Now, can we revisit bishop h8? Do we think that's a reasonable idea or not? Yeah, he has to, if I take H6 Zamfafex. I mean, I'm attacking his queen, so he definitely has to take back. Bishop H8 looks totally unnecessary. It's not bad. I was thinking take the thing. Well, I thought the dark squares would be pretty good, and I thought I could attack over here, you know, with relative ease. You like Bishop H8, Camel? Queen H6 check and Knight G5. Nah, you're right, Zamfafex. Okay, wait. Bishop H8 takes. Here, I was gonna play King G8, but your move might still apply. That does seem true, Vindictive. You gotta take on E4. Yeah, maybe. I think what Vindictive said is true, though. Isn't what Vindictive said even more true? And then Knight G5. How do I not die there? Seems like I die. Yeah, you could play Bishop G7, then he could take on H7 though, which I don't know. Could be a problem. Well, here's what happened. I couldn't decide which of these I wanted. And this was sort of floating around in my head. And basically analyzing these lines with or without the inclusion of taking this bishop, I just wasn't convinced. I wasn't convinced that I had something. And maybe I wanted something too much. But I thought if I take the knight, then the bishop's good, either where it is or on B3 or something. If I take the bishop, the knight gets to good squares somewhere. So I was like, you know, let's just keep it going. Let's try to have some dynamic attacking stuff. Well, I don't think I'm really up a pawn. I mean, technically, yeah. Like, in the most technical sense, I am. I don't know which of these you want to take. This is the one to take to be more up a pawn. I don't know, man. I don't think these pawns are going to survive, though. I don't think I'm going to be up a pawn for too long. But maybe. Okay, but I played Bishop H8. And I feel a little bit better about it because none of you guys said what he did that totally crushed me from here. Although I think Vindictive's suggestion was actually better than what happened. But I got totally crushed from this position, like, immediately. And nobody suggested the line, so now I don't feel bad for missing it. So, he took this. Imquander, avert your eyes. Because I took. Actually, what he did might be better than what Vindictive suggests, because Yeah, after this and queen and bishop g7, then I guess he can't do stuff. It's funny because my plan was to play king g8, which would have just... I mean, I'm going to assume I would have seen that once it arose, but I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't have. Okay, but it was worse. Okay, so what did he do? Bishop d5 might be good. That's not what he did. That looks pretty reasonable. But bishop d5, c d5, queen d5. I mean, that looks good. I can't refute it. He did play knight c3. Is anybody seeing the problem yet? Other than Imquander? Yeah. That's what happened, Imquander. That is what happened. But now it's not so much fun. I wanted to, I don't know. I mean, I wanted to attack him. I don't know. Like, you can't tell me that sacking the exchange isn't super often super good. Suppose he played queen e3? I don't know, then I'd, like, attack him. I'd, like, start going here somewhere. Here, maybe, I don't know. Here. Something, you know, something good. Attacking. Maybe I'll push my pawn. I don't know, man. I did look at the concrete position, I just looked at it wrong. Yeah, so queen d8, and I can basically resign, but instead I played for like 20 more moves. I did look at the concrete position, I just didn't look at this one. I didn't look at this one that's like pretty relevant. Okay, so yeah, we'll just show the rest of the game for funsies. Let's see. Because I played one forever, of course. Here. Now, like, the only way I ever get out of this pin is to do this. But that's so lost that I tried to not do it. What was the best move after bishop h6? Not what I did. Probably everything else is okay. Probably this is okay. Probably these moves are okay. Probably this is okay. Yeah, it's all good in the hood. It just says white's a tiny bit better. And nothing's going on, but then I hung the game. Nah, everything's good. You guys are acting like we're gonna keep these pawns. Like, we're never keeping both of these pawns. Yeah, I mean, I think everything is winning here. The computer said bishop h6 or take one of the pieces, like, it was all about the same. Hey, h5 was the best move, I'm a genius. Then he went here, threatening this, and I lose all my bishops. I was like, okay, I guess I gotta do this now. And then this is why I didn't want to do that earlier. Here I have to play bishop c8. Either now or later. If I play bishop a6, let's go ahead and make that. This was a relevant line that I noticed. Not ideal. So bishop c8. Let's see, what move is this? 21. He took this, which surprised me a bit. I thought he would take here, but I guess not like I can keep that pawn anyway. I went here. Now he took it. I was like, I know what I'll do. I'll get my king up here. F3. Yeah, also I wanted to fork him, but he saw it. After the game, when we were talking, I was like, yeah, I kept trying to, you know, get counterplay or do something. And he was like, well, unfortunately for you, that's how I play. He's like, I know how to stop all that. It's like, dang. Truth hurts, I guess. H3. Then I was like, let's get the king going. No, it wasn't so good, Zamfafex. In a lot of positions, that exchange sack is good, but not this one. Yeah, and then here he played knight e2, but then that sort of killed my dreams of counterplay. Like, now I never, ever can come in anywhere. He's got everything guarded. He's got the Great Wall. King never coming in. Sad. Sad is what it is. So I played bishop f4. Please take my bishop. He did not comply. And I attacked him a little bit. He went here. Here. He's like, I got an idea. I was like, let's stop that. Rook c8 surprises me a little bit, but it doesn't matter. I really don't have a move here. I saw that he wanted to do this, and I was like, well, if he does that, maybe I can do that. And finding nothing better, I let that happen. But obviously, I'm totally busted. Let's see, where are we? Oh yeah, then he went here. That was annoying. Stopping all my counterplay. That was like his whole, like, he just never let me have any counterplay. And here I gave up, finding no more possibilities of counterplay. So yeah, that game was terrible. I don't even think it's an interesting game just because the game's basically over after queen d8. So it was just like a one-move blunder that wasn't really well thought out. Well, he did a great job stopping all the count. I really like the way he played when he was, you know, +5. The opening was probably dubious for him, but not, you know, not horrifically so. Yeah, I mean, it's just a nothing burger of a game. Just one blunder ruined the game. So knight g4 is the best move. I sort of believe it, knowing what I know now. This is fine too, it's equal. Huh, bishop f5 it likes more. Huh, how about that? It just says this is fine, no problem. Computers are good at playing these weird structures though. I think this is harder for a human. At least a human of my caliber. So I'm gonna say my move's better. And then yeah, every legal move is fine except for what I did. It says these two are both plus 0.2, and then they don't like that as much, but also fine. Okay, so that's the tournament so far. 2 games tomorrow. I need to go ahead and end the stream and go to bed soon. First round's in the morning tomorrow, and I'm bad at being awake in the morning. So, anyway, the first game was a lot of fun. This last game was not so much fun, but what can you do? Nah, I can't be 1800 already. Probably like 1780 would be my guess. Maybe not quite. Nah, you don't get 30. I wouldn't have gotten 32 points for beating a 2000. Is that what it says? Let's see, I play some guy. His name is James Hargrove, and he's 1910, and I have white. And Michael said he's friends with both of us. So he told him that I play D4, and he told me that he plays D5. That's fair. Yeah, I use a lot of Ben Feingold isms. Your loss is someone else's, but I wanted the win. It's all about me. I'm the main character. All right, who are we rating? So many choices. Let's raid Illusory Poker. Let's see. Oh, he's moving the wrong direction. So he's a professional poker player. He won a $400,000... Well, he got third in a big tournament this past week and won $400,000. That's, you know, pretty good. But now he's moved on to a better game, chess. And he's got a bet. He needs to get to 1550 in bullet in the next, like, 4 days to win a $11,000 bet. Okay, wait 1 second. See if I can do this. No, it's 11,000. Yeah, me too, Bynack. I haven't mentioned to him that I know her, but yeah, so she would probably scoff at him. But, you know, what can you do? Okay, thanks for being here, guys. Thanks for helping me analyze the games. Hopefully the games tomorrow will be of good quality, like the first game, and not of terrible quality like the second game. And I'll show you guys those games. I don't know if I'll stream tomorrow night. I might be too tired, but I'll share those games at some point. So anyway, take care, everyone. See you guys next time. Bye.